Sun Valley, ID, July 12. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg attends the annual Allen Company Sun Valley Conference, July 12, 2019 in Sun Valley, Idaho. Every July, some of the world's most wealthy and powerful business people from the media, finance, and technology spheres converge at the Sun Valley Resort for the exclusive week-long conference. Photo by Drew Ungerer. Getty Images with Michael Bloomberg now mid-leap into the Democratic primary race. There are many topics to discuss. Age, wealthy self-indulgence, stop and frisk. All of that is worth some discussion, but let's focus for a moment another of Bloomberg's signature topics, education. It has become a hot topic, with candidates like Warren and Sanders aggressively opposing the education reform agenda of the last 20 years, and candidates like Booker try to pretend they weren't part of it. So where does Bloomberg fit in the spectrum of Democratic education candidates? The short answer on education: Michael Bloomberg is Jeb Bush with more money and a little more experience. The long answer: Bloomberg pioneered many of the signature moves of modern reform movement. Upon becoming mayor, he cast his gaze upon New York schools, did not like what he saw, and decided there was only one person who could properly wield the power needed to fix the system, and that was Michael Bloomberg. He embraced the notion, beloved by other very rich guys such as Eli Broad, that education had to be taken out of the hands of educators and run, instead, by businessmen. So he convinced the state to give him mayoral control of the school system and hired Joel Klein, a lawyer with no education background, to run the system. This was way back in 2002. Bloomberg and Klein pushed many of the reforms that would become standard fare across the country. Run the system like a hard-charging, all-powerful CEO. Close public schools and open charters. Blame, and fight, the teachers' union. Depend on the big standardized test as the ultimate measure of all educational success or failure. Later, as ed reform really flourished in the early Common Core years, they would also start using AstroTurf groups like Students First to push their preferred policies. Folks from the Bloomberg-Klein ed system spread out across the nation to spread the gospel. You can get much of the story in short form from Chalkbeat and in more detail in Mercedes Schneider's book Chronicle of Echoes. Was Bloomberg successful? Many good and bad things happened under his leadership: more graduates, more segregation, but finding direct linkages challenging. Using the New York City school system as an educational laboratory is like running biology experiments in a damp, moldy basement with the windows open and pantries and menageries in the same room. Something is happening, and something is causing it, but there's an awful lot of noise to sort through. Bloomberg was part of a wave of Democratic education reformers who supported ideas that were completely in tune with GOP reformers. Bloomberg's reforms in New York City, run like a business under a CEO, push charters, buck unions, focus on testing, were mirrored by Jeb Bush's education reforms as governor of Florida in the same time period. Bush focused on testing, pushed for more school choice policies, and battled the teachers' union. Bush has called Bloomberg a great mayor, and served on the Bloomberg Family Foundation board. When it comes to education reform, Michael Bloomberg has far more in common with GOP ed reform fans than with many of his fellow Democrats. Bloomberg has not officially come out as a candidate yet, and so we have no clear statement of his current education policy ideas. But his pattern of giving since leaving office matches his priorities as mayor. Meanwhile,